Before you ever apply for a mortgage, you want your credit profile to look safe and predictable. Not just a decent score, an approval-friendly profile. These are the three things that move the needle the most. Payment history, credit utilization, and avoiding new credit moves while cleaning up your report. What's good? It's your favorite businessman, CEO Rico, on Urban CEO Network, where we discuss real plays, real lessons, and real conversations. Make sure you lock in, subscribe, and drop a comment. Now let's jump into today's video. Fix number one is payment history. Late payments, derogatory remarks, they hit your score the hardest because they signal risk. Now, if you've got any recent lates, past due accounts, collections, charge-offs, this is where you want to start. The goal is super simple. Stop the bleeding and rebuild consistency. Guys, it's super big. And I want you to think about it like this. If somebody came to you, borrowed money, and then let's say somebody went to your cousin, and let's say they paid you back. They went to your cousin, they went to your mom. They paid your cousin half the money back, and then they didn't pay you none of the money back. And then let's say they came back around to you and said, hey, let me borrow some money from you. And you know that they did not pay your mom back, and they only pay half of what they paid your cousin. So technically, what do they have? They got a past due account, right? Because it's a recent late, right? They got a collection because with moms, they ain't paid. Are you going to let them borrow money? Chances are no, right? So something that you want to keep in mind when thinking about this whole process. Now, what to do? Now, here's the move. Get every account that's past due, get them current. Then set up auto pay for minimum payments so you don't get surprised by another late payment. The mortgage process is not the time to be trying to remember due dates. Consistency is what wins here. Another big thing too is when you get to this stage and you get serious about this, you also just want to stay on top of everything anyway. You should not be getting 30-day lates because there's no way that you should be getting a bill in the mail, or we in 2026, you should not be getting bills by email, anything like that, and you don't know the due dates. You should be putting them in your calendar. You should have some type of application to where it's letting you know this due date is coming up, this account is coming, get this thing done. So you want to be serious when it comes to this. Now, fix number two. This is the credit card utilization. Guys, right now, credit cards is at their all-time high as far as consumer debt. So this is something that we have to fix. Now, when you're fixing this, right, your balances compared to your limits. This is one of the fastest ways to improve your credit because it looks, without doing anything complicated, you can pay everything on time every single month, and you can still get penalized if your balances are high when they report. So here's your targets. You want to stay under 30% per card. So that's the baseline. Now, after you get to that point, you want to get under 10%. That's when you're really starting to optimize your entire situation. Key details most people miss, the statement dates, they also matter. You want the balance that reports to be low, not just the balance after you pay on the due date. Now, here's the biggest thing. Here is somewhere where you can get real strategic if you are in a situation. You can actually figure out when your credit card companies reports to the credit bureaus. So basically, it's like a balancing act. You can make sure that you have whatever balance going towards the end of the month. You can make sure you have it paid. So let's say hypothetically, your due date is the 1st, but that they report on the 7th. So one thing that you can do is you can make sure you pay that balance, let's say all the way off or something like that, and you report that balance on the 7th of every month. So what you can do is go in there, pay it off, bam. After the 7th, you can wait till 8th, 9th, something like that, because it fluctuates from time to time, and pull all the money back out. This is just one of those things where we're focused on making sure the utilization ratios are very low when it comes to the reported agencies. Now, of course, you want to make sure you pay these off. You want to make sure they stay extremely low. But I'm just giving you a little bit of game for if you're in a little situation. So here's some quick wins, right? So the quick wins, they come down to timing and behavior. Remember, that's what I just was explaining to you. You want to pay the balance down before the statement closes, not after. Now, try not to close any old cards. This will hurt you because you can shrink your available credit and push your utilization up. And if you're close to applying, don't go triggering new inquiries unless your lender tells you to do so. Reason being, the more increase, that shows that, hey, this person is out trying to shop for credit. Why? People who's financially okay, they have the resources, they don't typically go shopping around for credit unless they need it for a specific reason. But 9 times out of 10, if your financial situation is not looking good overall, that's a clear indication that, hey, this person must be in a financial situation. We don't want to give them the money because it's a good possibility we may not be getting it back. Just remember that. Now, number 3, stop new credit moves. No new applications. No, I'll just open one more card. No random financing, no co-signing. New credit can drop your score. This also can change your debt picture and create extra questions during the underwriting process. You want to keep your profile calm, clear, and concise. This is really big because what you got to understand is, while I understand where other places they tell you, oh, it's all your score is great, you had a 740, things like that. Guys, I've seen people get in a situation where they couldn't qualify even with those high credit scores because they had something on their credit that's questionable and they couldn't provide the information that the lenders have needed in order to get them moving forward. So you want to be extremely cautious with this. When you're ready to get that house or when you are starting your timeline, just make sure you're not doing nothing out here crazy. It's super simple, right? So we want to clean up them errors. Now, while you're freezing new credit moves, you also want to clean up errors. Make sure your report is accurate and up to date. Now, this is where you go into credit repair. If that's something that you want to do, you can either do it yourself, which I also have an ebook that take you through the whole process, or you can seek someone to do it for you, a credit repair company, someone who specializes in it, something like that. Reason being, you can have the wrong balances, you can have the wrong limits, duplicate accounts, outdated info, even authorized users accounts that actually are hurting you. You want to get all of this together. You want your report to tell one clear story, stable and responsible. This is super big. Make sure you stay on top of that. Now, let's talk about the mortgage preparation timeline. Now, here's a simple timeline you can follow. At 90 days out, stabilize the payments and start your payoff plan. At 60 days out, you want to reduce utilization and correct any errors. At 30 days out, you want to maintain consistency, avoid any financial changes. Remember, guys, the key word is consistency. This timeline keeps your credit moving in the right direction without creating issues right before you apply. Make sure you stay on top of this. Now, my recommendation is start at least 6 months out. Reason being, if you already have that plan, if anything was to pop up, you can maneuver a little bit better. You still have time to make sure things are in order, and then you can get to the results that you're trying to get to. Now, here's the weekly action checklist. And if you want the weekly checklist, keep it simple. Pull your 3 credit bureau reports. Always pull that. You can go to annualcreditreport.com. You can pull your reports for free. I believe they still are giving you free credit pulls once per week, if I'm not mistaken. So that's big. It's absolutely for free. This is where you want to identify anything that's past due. Set your auto pay minimums. And also with the auto pays too, here's one thing I want you to understand. Let's say if your payment date is due on the 1st, if you don't pay it until 20th, if you get a late payment from the credit card company, that does not mean that late payment is going to show up on your credit report. There's 2 different things. Late payments is just, okay, as a company, you're paying me late, so I want my money and I'm about to give you an additional fee for not paying on time. 30-day late is when it gets sent off to the credit reporting agency, and then now it's being reflected on your credit report. 2 different scenarios. Make sure you stay on top of that. Then also, you want to aggressively pay down credit cards until you're under that 30%, then push towards 10%. Do those steps consistently, and you'll usually see the mortgage readiness improve fast. Now, here's another little piece of advice as well when it comes to if you're trying to pay off those credit cards. You can do the snowball method. It's another method called velocity banking as well. We can talk about that in another video. But when it comes to the snowball method, that's where you choose one of your credit cards, so you got multiple, and you set them side by side. You know which one has the highest interest rate, which one has the highest payment. Whichever one is hurting you the most, that's what I typically recommend starting with, because it's hurting your pockets the most. I get the interest component, but it's like if you got a credit card, let's say 25% interest, but that credit card payment is like, let's say $50. But then you got a credit card payment over here that may be, I don't know, let's say it's like 22%, but that payment is $500. Which one is hurting you more? Now, you definitely can go the cheaper route with the $50 a month, and you can expedite that whole payment and then keep everything, low. But that's a strategy you have to figure out yourself. Whichever one you're most comfortable with, do that and then move forward from there. All right, that's it for me on this one. If you want the step-by-step system to get your business set up the right way, hit my Launch Lab link in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.